If your life feels heavy, chaotic, and unfocused, look around your home, because chaos does not start in your schedule. It starts in your environment. A cluttered home is not just messy, it is leaking energy. Every object without a place is a decision you keep postponing. Every pile you ignore is discipline you delay. And over time, that disorder trains your mind to accept confusion as normal. Napoleon Hill discovered a powerful truth after studying men who built lasting success. Your environment shapes your thinking shapes your destiny. This means order is not cosmetic, it is strategic. When your home is chaotic, focus weakens, decisions slow, motivation drains. But when your space is ordered, something changes inside you. Your mind becomes clearer, your emotions stabilize, your sense of control returns. This is why successful people are obsessive about order, not because they are neat, but because they understand something most people miss. You cannot master your life if you cannot master the space you live in. This is not about cleaning. This is about self-discipline. This is not about decoration. This is about personal authority. When you take control of your home, you send a message to your subconscious, I am in command. And the mind responds. In this message, you will learn why organizing your home is one of the fastest ways to reclaim mental clarity, discipline, and inner power, and how small acts of order create momentum that spills into every area of your life. Stay with me until the end, because mastering your home is often the first step to mastering everything else. Now, let's begin with the first truth. Your home is a mirror of your mind. Look closely at your home, not to judge it, not to criticize it, but to read it, because your home is not neutral. It is a mirror of your habits, a mirror of your standards, a mirror of how much order or disorder you tolerate in your life. Napoleon Hill taught that environment powerfully influences thought, and thought, when repeated, becomes character. Character then shapes destiny. This means your home is constantly training your mind, whether you realize it or not. Every surface covered in clutter teaches your brain to accept distraction. Every object without a place normalizes indecision. Every corner you avoid reinforces avoidance as a habit. Over time, this silent training compounds. You may feel tired without knowing why, unfocused without a clear cause, overwhelmed even when nothing urgent is happening. The problem is not motivation. It is environmental pressure. Disorder demands attention. Even when you think you've tuned it out, your nervous system has not. Your eyes scan, your mind processes, your energy leaks. This is why clutter drains power. It keeps your mind in a low-grade state of alert, unfinished, unresolved, unsettled. And a mind that is constantly unsettled cannot operate with clarity or authority. Order does the opposite. Order calms the nervous system. It reduces decision fatigue. It creates mental space. When your home is ordered, your brain no longer wastes energy tracking chaos. It rests. It focuses. It sharpens. This is not psychology theory. It is lived reality. Think about the difference between walking into a clean, quiet room and stepping into a space filled with piles, noise, and disorder. Your body reacts immediately. Breath slows, shoulders drop, thinking becomes easier. That is power returning. And power begins with awareness. Most people believe their life feels chaotic because of work, money, or time, but often chaos has already been accepted at home, And what you tolerate in private eventually appears in public. This is why success-minded individuals obsess over order, not perfection, order. They understand that a disciplined environment supports disciplined thinking. A chaotic environment weakens it. Your home reflects your current identity, not your potential. And that is important, because reflection is not condemnation, it is information. If your home feels heavy, it does not mean you are failing. It means something is asking to be corrected. This chapter is not about blame. It is about control. You regain control by restoring order one decision at a time. Every object you keep is a choice. Every item you release is a decision. Every space you organize is an act of self-leadership. This is why organizing your home creates momentum beyond cleaning. You stop postponing decisions. You stop negotiating with clutter. You stop tolerating what drains you. And that discipline carries forward. When you begin to expect order around you, you begin to expect it within yourself. Standards rise quietly. Focus improves. Emotional stability strengthens. Confidence grows not loudly, but firmly, because order creates self-trust. You trust yourself to decide, to finish, to maintain. That trust is rare, and it begins here not with ambition, but with alignment. Before you change your habits, before you chase new goals, before you demand more from life, you must first create an environment that supports who you are becoming. Your home is not just where you live, it is where your standards rehearse daily. In the next chapter, we will examine why clutter drains power and how disorder quietly steals focus. Discipline and momentum, often without you noticing, because once you understand that, you will never see clutter the same way again. Clutter is not harmless. It does not simply sit there. It demands attention. Every object without a place pulls at your focus, asking quietly but persistently to be noticed, decided, resolved. Your mind may ignore it consciously, but your nervous system does not. This is how clutter drains power. Power is the ability to direct attention. And attention is limited when your environment is crowded with unfinished signals piles, stacks. Excess, you pay a tax on every thought. Decision fatigue sets in early. Focus becomes fragile. Irritation rises without a clear reason. This is not laziness. It is overload. Napoleon Hill emphasized that success depends on organized thought. But organized thought cannot survive in an environment that constantly interrupts it. Clutter creates interruption without noise. Your eyes register disorder. Your brain tags it as unresolved. Your energy leaks. This happens all day, every day. That is why people with cluttered homes often feel behind even before the day begins. They wake up already processing chaos. And when the mind starts the day scattered, discipline becomes effort instead of default. Clutter also weakens authority. Authority is not volume, it is clarity. A clear environment supports clear decisions. A cluttered one invites hesitation. You put things off. You delay choices. You tolerate what should be corrected. Over time, tolerance becomes habit. And habits shape identity. This is how clutter quietly trains you to accept less control. It teaches the mind that disorder is normal, that unfinished is acceptable, that later is good enough. But later compounds, and compounding works both ways. Small tolerances today become large burdens tomorrow. Clutter also anchors the past. Objects carry memory, emotion, attachment. When excess fills your space, old versions of you linger. clothes that no longer fit who you are, items tied to outdated goals, things kept just in case. This anchors identity backwards. You are trying to move forward, but your environment keeps pulling you into yesterday. Power requires alignment. When your space reflects who you were, your progress slows. Order releases the past. It creates room for what is next. This is why decluttering often brings unexpected emotion, relief, sadness, clarity. You are not just clearing space, you are updating identity. Clutter also steals time, not hours at once, but minutes constantly. Looking for things, moving piles, cleaning around mess instead of removing it. Time fragments, and fragmented time produces fragmented thinking. This is why people feel busy but unproductive. They are moving constantly, but not advancing. Order reverses this. When everything has a place, movement becomes efficient, tasks complete faster. Cleanup is automatic. Maintenance replaces rescue. Power returns. This is not about perfection. It is about control. You do not need to own less than everyone else. You need to own only what earns its place. When objects earn their place, your environment becomes intentional. Intentional space supports intentional action. And intentional action builds momentum. Clutter drains power because it keeps you reacting. Order restores power because it allows you to lead. Lead your attention. Lead your energy. Lead your day. If your life feels heavy, do not start by pushing harder. Start by removing what pulls you back. In the next chapter, we will confront the first practical law of order. Eliminate before you organize. Because you cannot arrange what you refuse to release. Most people try to organize chaos. They buy boxes, shelves, labels, and nothing changes. Because organization is not the first step. Elimination is. You cannot create order while refusing to let go. Napoleon Hill taught that progress requires release. You cannot attract abundance while clinging to what no longer serves you. Holding excess blocks movement mentally and physically. This law is simple, but uncomfortable. Clutter does not begin when things are out of place. It begins when you keep what you do not need. Broken items, unused clothes, duplicates, objects kept out of guilt, fear, or just in case. Each one is a postponed decision, and postponed decisions drain authority. Elimination is not about throwing things away carelessly. It is about choosing deliberately. Does this object serve my life now? Does it support who I am becoming? Does it earn its space? If the answer is no, it is not neutral. It is weight. Weight on your space. Weight on your attention. Weight on your identity. This is why elimination feels emotional. Objects carry memory, expectation, old promises. Letting go feels like admitting something has ended. A version of you, a chapter, a belief. But clarity requires honesty. You cannot build a future while preserving every fragment of the past. Elimination clears signal. When excess is removed, what remains becomes visible. You see what you value. You see what you use. You see what matters. This is where discipline begins, not in arranging. In deciding, most people avoid elimination because it feels final. But order requires finality, not perfection decisions. This is why elimination creates immediate relief. Energy lifts, breath deepens, focus sharpens. You feel lighter not because the room changed, but because you did. You stopped negotiating. Elimination also changes consumption. Once you release excess, you become more intentional. You think before bringing something new in. You respect space. You value simplicity. This protects order. Order is fragile when excess is tolerated. It is stable when standards are clear. Elimination does not require extremes. You do not need to empty your home in a weekend. That approach often rebounds. What you need is consistency. Choose one area, one drawer, one shelf. Remove what no longer serves. 10 items is enough to start. Momentum comes from action, not scale, and momentum compounds. Each elimination builds confidence. Each decision strengthens authority. You begin to trust yourself to choose, to finish, to maintain. This is the deeper effect. Elimination trains the mind to complete loops. No more later, no more someday. Only now. That mindset spreads. You stop postponing conversations. You stop delaying commitments. You stop tolerating what drains you. Order expands beyond the home, but elimination must come first, because organization without elimination is decoration over disorder. Temporary, fragile, deceptive. True order is honest. It asks what deserves to stay, what is finished, what no longer belongs. Answering these questions reshapes identity. If you want power in your life, start by removing what weakens it. In the next chapter, we will establish the second law of order. Every object must earn its place. Because once excess is gone, structure becomes possible. And structure is where control returns. Order does not collapse suddenly. It erodes quietly. Not because you stopped caring, but because things stopped having clear homes. This is the law most people ignore. Every object must earn its place. If an item has no defined location, it becomes clutter the moment you put it down. And clutter is simply indecision repeated. Napoleon Hill taught that success depends on organized planning. Planning fails when details are vague. The same is true in your home. Vague placement creates disorder. Clear placement creates control. When objects have no home, your mind must constantly decide where they belong. That decision costs energy. Multiply that by dozens of objects every day, and fatigue becomes normal. This is why disorder returns even after a deep clean. You cleaned, but you didn't assign authority. Authority means definition. Keys go here. Documents go here. Shoes go here. Bags go here. No negotiation. No improvisation. This may sound rigid. It is not. It is liberating. When every object has a place, you stop searching, you stop stacking, you stop postponing. Your home begins to reset itself automatically. You return items without thinking. Surfaces stay clear. Maintenance replaces rescue. This is how order sustains itself. Most people resist this law because it feels small, trivial. But small laws govern big outcomes. A single habit returning items to their place prevents hours of future cleanup. This is efficiency, and efficiency is power. When your environment runs efficiently, your mind does too. You make faster decisions. You feel less rushed. You conserve attention. This is why leaders obsess over systems, not complexity, clarity. A clear system removes friction. This law also teaches respect. When you give an object a place, you acknowledge its value, and when something does not deserve a place, it does not deserve to stay. This creates boundaries. Boundaries protect order. Order protects focus. Focus produces results. Notice how this law extends beyond objects. When people, tasks, and commitments do not have clear places in your life, chaos follows. You overcommit. You forget. You feel pulled in every direction. But when you assign clear limits, time, space, priority control returns. This is the deeper lesson. Your home trains your standards. If you allow objects to drift, you allow habits to drift. If you enforce placement, you enforce discipline. This is not about perfection. It is about consistency. You do not need expensive organizers. You need decisions. A box, a tray, a shelf. Simple structure beats complicated systems every time. When you finish using something, you finish the action by returning it. That completion loop matters. It trains the mind to finish, not abandon. And people who finish small things finish big things. If your home keeps falling back into disorder, do not blame motivation. Look for missing structure. Order collapses only where definition is absent. Fix that, and the system stabilizes. In the next chapter, we will explore something deeper than structure, how order creates emotional stability, and why a calm home produces a calm nervous system. Because order is not just physical, it is emotional regulation made visible. Emotional instability rarely comes from a single crisis. It builds quietly from constant friction, too many decisions, too much visual noise, too many unfinished signals. A cluttered environment keeps the nervous system on alert. Nothing feels complete. Nothing feels settled. And a mind that never settles cannot regulate emotion. Napoleon Hill emphasized that emotional control is essential for success. But emotional control is not achieved by willpower alone. It is supported or undermined by the environment you live in. Order reduces friction. When your space is ordered, your mind stops bracing for interruption. There are fewer decisions to make, fewer reminders of unfinished business, fewer triggers pulling attention sideways. This creates calm, not the fragile calm that disappears under pressure, but structural calm, the kind that remains because the system supports it. Order also restores predictability. Predictability is safety to the nervous system. When you know where things are, when routines are stable, when spaces remain consistent, the body relaxes, breathing deepens, muscles soften, thoughts slow. This is not emotional weakness. This is regulation, and regulation is power. An unregulated mind reacts. A regulated mind responds. Order trains response. When your environment stops surprising you, your emotions stop spiking. You feel less irritated by small disruptions, less overwhelmed by minor setbacks, less reactive to stress. This is why people often report feeling calmer after organizing, even before anything else in life changes. Their inner world is no longer fighting their outer one. Order also creates completion. Completion soothes the mind. Each time you return an item to its place, each time you clear a surface, each time you close a loop, your brain registers resolution. Resolution releases tension, and tension, left unresolved, becomes anxiety. This is why clutter feels heavy. It is unresolved tension made visible. Order resolves it. Emotionally stable people are not those without stress. They are those whose systems handle stress efficiently. Order is one of those systems. This is also why order increases patience. When your environment is calm, time feels slower. You rush less. You interrupt less. You think before reacting. This is emotional maturity, and emotional maturity compounds. It improves communication, strengthens relationships, sharpens judgment. Order also creates self-respect. When you care for your space consistently, you send a signal inward, I am worth maintaining. That message stabilizes identity. You stop swinging between extremes, high motivation, deep exhaustion. Instead, you operate from steadiness. Steadiness is underestimated, but steadiness is what allows long-term success. A chaotic emotional state burns energy. A stable one preserves it. Order preserves energy. This does not require perfection. It requires maintenance. A few minutes a day prevents emotional overload later. That is leverage. If you find yourself emotionally reactive, irritable, or overwhelmed by small things, do not look for a dramatic solution. Look for missing order. Emotional regulation often begins with environmental regulation. Calm the space, the mind will follow. In the next chapter, we will turn this stability into something stronger, daily order that builds discipline. Because calm alone is not enough. Discipline transforms calm into progress, and progress is where mastery begins. Discipline is not built in moments of intensity. It is built in moments of repetition. Most people wait for motivation to organize. They clean when chaos becomes unbearable. They reset only after collapse. That approach fails because discipline is not reactive. It is protective. Napoleon Hill taught that self-discipline grows from small, repeated acts carried out consistently, not grand gestures, not emotional surges. Daily structure. Daily order creates a rhythm, and rhythm stabilizes behavior. When order is practiced every day, even briefly, it stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like identity. This is where discipline becomes natural. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. Not cleaning everything, just resetting what drifted. That reset matters. It closes loops before they accumulate. It prevents chaos from compounding. It keeps standards intact. Most people misunderstand discipline. They believe it requires force. In reality, discipline requires systems. A system removes decision-making. It makes the right action automatic. Daily order is one of the simplest systems available. You finish a task. You return the item. You clear the surface. No negotiation. No debate. This is not rigidity. This is freedom. When systems handle order, your willpower is conserved. And conserved willpower can be used for growth. Daily order also trains reliability. You keep small promises to yourself. You finish what you start. You maintain what you create. That reliability builds self-trust. Self-trust fuels confidence. Confidence reduces hesitation. Hesitation is where most progress dies. This is why daily order matters far beyond the home. It trains the mind to act without drama. No buildup, no procrastination, no burnout, just execution. Daily order also protects focus. When clutter is addressed immediately, attention stays available. You are not constantly thinking about what needs fixing. You are free to think forward. This is why high performers protect their routines. Not because routines are exciting, but because they reduce friction. Friction drains energy. Daily order reduces friction at the source. This practice also prevents emotional swings. You do not let mess reach a level that overwhelms you. You stay ahead. That creates calm authority. You are no longer reacting to your environment. You are maintaining it. Maintenance is mastery. Maintenance says, I do not let things decay. This attitude spreads. You stop letting habits decay. You stop letting conversations decay. You stop letting standards decay. Everything receives consistent attention. Daily order does not require perfection. It requires return. Return things to their place. Return spaces to neutral. Return yourself to alignment. That return builds discipline quietly. Over time, discipline becomes invisible. Others may not notice what you do, but they notice what you don't do. You don't rush. You don't scramble. You don't apologize for disorder. You move with steadiness. If your discipline feels fragile, do not demand more effort from yourself. Reduce the size of the habit. Increase the frequency. Consistency beats intensity every time. 5 minutes daily beats 1 hour occasionally. This is how discipline survives. In the next chapter, we will look at a specific area where order creates immediate authority, the entrance of your home. Because where you cross from the world into your private space sets the tone for everything that follows. And tone is power. Authority begins at the threshold, not inside the room, not after you sit down. At the moment you enter, the entrance of your home is not just a passageway. It is a boundary between the outside world and your inner world. When that boundary is chaotic, everything that follows is weakened. Shoes scattered, bags dropped, keys lost, mail piled up. This may seem small, but small signals shape behavior. Napoleon Hill emphasized that leadership begins with self-control. Self-control begins with clear boundaries. And boundaries are trained through environment before they are practiced in behavior. The entrance is where authority is either established or surrendered. If disorder greets you at the door, your nervous system never fully relaxes. You carry the outside world deeper into the home. Stress lingers. Urgency follows. Attention stays scattered. But when the entrance is ordered, something shifts immediately. Your body recognizes safety. Your mind releases tension. Your breathing slows. You cross a line. This is not decoration. It is psychological signaling. The entrance says, from here on, I am in control. This is why cultures that value discipline protect the threshold. They treat entry as a transition. You remove what does not belong. You pause. You reset. The act itself matters. When you create an intentional entry, you create a ritual of return. Return to calm. Return to order. Return to yourself. This ritual builds authority because it reinforces choice. You choose what comes in. You choose what stays out. Authority is choice made visible, practically. This is simple. Every item at the entrance must have a role. Shoes belong here. Keys belong here. Bags belong here. No improvisation. When items lack defined roles, the entrance becomes a dumping ground, and dumping grounds erode respect. Respect for space, respect for time, respect for yourself. A clean entrance communicates care. Care communicates value. Value stabilizes behavior. This is why a well-kept entrance often changes the entire home. It sets the tone. People move differently inside. They place things back. They slow down. Order becomes contagious. This is also why entrances influence mood so strongly. You arrive home tired, overstimulated, carrying the weight of the day. If the entrance is chaotic, the weight follows you inside. If the entrance is calm, the weight stops there. That pause is power. It separates reaction from response. You are no longer dragged by the day. You are choosing how the evening unfolds. This practice also strengthens boundaries beyond the home. When you train yourself to respect thresholds, you begin to respect limits elsewhere. You stop letting work spill into rest. You stop letting urgency invade peace. You stop letting noise dominate attention. Boundaries strengthen identity. Identity strengthens discipline. Discipline sustains order. This is the chain. If your life feels like everything bleeds into everything else, work into rest. Stress into relationships. Urgency into sleep. Start at the entrance. Define the boundary. You do not need luxury. You need intention. A clear space. A simple structure. A consistent reset. That is enough. When you protect the threshold, you protect the home. When you protect the home, you protect the mind. In the next chapter, we will explore a principle that deepens all of this: minimalism as mental clarity. Because less is not loss, it is focus. And focus is where mastery accelerates. Excess weakens attention. Not dramatically, gradually. Too many objects compete for your eyes. Too many options compete for your mind. Too many choices slow every decision. This is why cluttered spaces create mental fatigue, even when nothing feels wrong. The mind is always processing. When there is less to process, clarity emerges. Napoleon Hill taught that concentration is one of the rarest and most valuable human abilities. But concentration cannot survive in an environment designed to distract. Minimalism is not deprivation. It is precision. It is the deliberate removal of everything that does not support focus. Less furniture means easier movement. Less decoration means clearer sight lines. Less stored items means faster maintenance. This creates speed. And speed, when paired with intention, creates power. Most people believe more creates abundance, more options, more possessions, more stimulation. In reality, more creates noise. Noise dilutes energy. Minimalism concentrates it. When fewer items remain, each one becomes intentional. You know why it is there. You know how it serves you. You know when it does not. This clarity eliminates hesitation. Hesitation is one of the greatest enemies of progress. When your environment is minimal, your decisions become faster. You are not distracted by excess. You are not negotiating with clutter. You move directly to action. This is why minimal spaces often feel powerful, not empty, focused. Minimalism also protects discipline. The fewer objects you own, the fewer things require maintenance. Less cleaning, less organizing, less fixing. That saved energy is redirected into thinking, into creating, into building. Minimalism creates margin. Margin creates calm. Calm creates leverage. This is the hidden advantage. People who live with less are harder to overwhelm. Their systems are simple. Their routines are lighter. Their attention is protected. This does not mean sterile spaces. It means intentional ones. A few meaningful objects carry more weight than dozens of forgettable ones. This principle applies beyond objects. Minimalism of commitments. Minimalism of distractions. Minimalism of information. Each one sharpens identity. When you reduce excess, you hear yourself more clearly. You notice patterns. You sense what drains you. You recognize what strengthens you. This awareness changes behavior. You stop accumulating out of habit. You stop saying yes automatically. You stop filling silence unnecessarily. Minimalism creates silence, and silence reveals truth. This is why many people feel uncomfortable when they first reduce. The noise disappears, and what remains is self-awareness. But that discomfort passes. What replaces it is steadiness. You feel grounded, clear, decisive. Minimalism also increases appreciation. When you own less, you care more for what remains. You maintain it. You respect it. You use it fully. This reinforces responsibility. Responsibility strengthens confidence. Confidence accelerates action. Minimalism is not an aesthetic. It is a discipline. A discipline that protects focus, preserves energy, and sharpens direction. If your life feels scattered, do not add more structure. Remove excess. Space is not empty. It is available. Available for thought. Available for rest. Available for growth. In the next chapter, we will connect minimalism to something deeper: routines that lock order into identity, because order sustained over time is what turns clarity into mastery. Order that depends on motivation will not last. Order that is embedded in routine becomes permanent. This is the difference between effort and identity. Most people organize when they feel inspired. Then life happens. Energy drops. Chaos returns. Because inspiration fades, routines remain. Napoleon Hill taught that character is built through habit, not intention. Habit is identity practiced daily. Routines remove emotion from discipline. You no longer ask, "Do I feel like doing this?" You simply do it because that is who you are. Morning routines set tone. Evening routines, close loops. These two anchors stabilize the entire day. A simple morning routine does not need complexity. Open the windows. Make the bed. Clear one surface. These acts are not about cleanliness. They are about command. You begin the day by creating order, not reacting to disorder. That sends a message to the mind: I lead. I do not chase. Evening routines are equally important. They return the environment to neutral. Dishes cleared. Items returned. Lights softened. This signals closure. The nervous system relaxes because nothing is unfinished. Sleep improves. Recovery deepens. Order compounds overnight. Routines work because they protect standards. When standards are protected, identity stabilizes. You no longer swing between extremes: intense effort, complete neglect. You operate steadily. Steadiness is rare, and rare qualities create advantage. Routines also reduce cognitive load. When actions are scheduled and repeated, the brain conserves energy. That energy becomes available for thinking, planning, and execution. This is why disciplined people appear calm. They are not constantly deciding. They are following systems they trust. Trust in your system is trust in yourself. This trust eliminates self-negotiation. Self-negotiation is exhausting. Should I do it now or later, maybe tomorrow? I'll fix it when I have time. Routines eliminate that noise. Now becomes automatic. Automatic action builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence reinforces identity. This loop is powerful. Routines also prevent decay. Order does not disappear suddenly. It erodes when attention drifts. Routines keep attention returning. Small daily resets prevent large future collapses. That is leverage. You spend minutes now to save hours later. Routines should be simple. Over-designed routines fail. The goal is repeatability, not perfection. 5 to 10 minutes is enough. Consistency matters more than duration. If you miss a day, you return the next. No punishment, no drama. Identity is built through return. The more often you return to order, the more natural it feels. Eventually, disorder feels uncomfortable. That is the shift. Order is no longer something you do. It is something you expect. That expectation changes behavior everywhere. You respect time. You respect space. You respect your word. This is why routines matter. They quietly build character. In the next and final chapter, we will bring everything together: how your home ultimately reflects your inner state, and how caring for one transforms the other. Because order is not about control, it is about alignment. Your home is not neutral. It is communicating with you every day. Every corner speaks. Every surface sends a signal. Every habit leaves a trace. Your home reflects your inner state, not who you wish to be, but who you are consistently becoming. Napoleon Hill taught that the dominant thoughts of the mind shape reality, but those thoughts do not exist in isolation. They are reinforced or weakened by the environment that surrounds you. When your home is neglected, it quietly teaches neglect. When it is chaotic, it normalizes disorder. And when it is intentional, it reinforces self-respect. This is not psychology theory. This is lived experience. A calm home invites calm behavior. A disciplined space invites disciplined thought. This is why organizing your home is never just about objects. It is about identity alignment. You are shaping the version of yourself that shows up each day. When you maintain order, you practice self-leadership. You are saying, I care enough to maintain what supports me. That message compounds. You begin to move with more intention. You speak with more clarity. You tolerate less chaos internally and externally. Your standards rise quietly. This is the deepest shift, not aesthetic improvement, character reinforcement. Your home becomes a place that restores you, not drains you. A place where decisions feel lighter, where thinking feels clearer, where rest feels earned. This is alignment. Alignment between your inner world and your outer environment. When these two match, friction disappears. You stop fighting yourself. Many people search for peace in escape, new places, new routines, new distractions. But peace does not come from leaving. It comes from ordering what you already inhabit. Your home can be a sanctuary or a stressor. The difference is not size. It is intention. A small, well-kept space holds more power than a large, neglected one. Because power comes from coherence. When your space reflects your values, your actions follow. This is why order sustains itself once identity shifts. You no longer clean to fix chaos. You maintain to protect alignment. That is mastery. And mastery does not announce itself. It shows up as calm, as steadiness, as quiet confidence. Others may not know why you feel different, but you will, because your environment will no longer pull you backward. It will support your direction. Your home becomes a partner in growth, a silent ally. And that is powerful. You do not need perfection. You need presence. You do not need to change everything today. You need to choose one area and bring it into order. One drawer, one surface, one routine. Begin there. Order is built the same way success is built, step by step, decision by decision, day by day. And as you maintain your space, you will notice something unexpected. Your thoughts slow. Your confidence stabilizes. Your sense of control returns, not because life became easier, but because you became more ordered. That is the real transformation, and it begins at home. Order is not a talent. It is a decision to stop tolerating chaos, a decision to stop postponing discipline, a decision to live with intention. Most people wait for motivation to change their lives, but life does not change through motivation. It changes through standards, and standards are enforced in the smallest places first. Your home is not just where you live, it is where your identity is trained. Every time you return something to its place, you reinforce control. Every time you clear a surface, you reclaim focus. Every time you maintain order, you prove to yourself that you lead. This is how confidence is built quietly, daily, without applause. Napoleon Hill taught that success is not sudden. It is the result of simple disciplines practiced consistently. Order is one of those disciplines. It does not shout. It does not impress, but it shapes everything. And here is the truth. You do not need to organize your entire home today. You need to organize one thing, one drawer, one corner, one routine. Start there, because order creates momentum. Momentum builds discipline. Discipline transforms identity, and identity shapes destiny. Before you leave this video, do this. Choose one small area in your home, set a 10-minute timer, remove what does not serve, return what remains to its place, then come back and comment, "I choose order. I choose control." If this message helped you see order differently, like the video so it reaches more people who need clarity. Subscribe to the channel for more Napoleon Hill-inspired teachings on discipline, mindset, and self-mastery. And remember this, when your environment obeys you, your life follows. I'll see you in the next video.